Hello. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's Innovire workshop. Innovire is a student-led organization who strive to provide all youth with opportunities and experiences to inspire them to become world-class innovators. We aim to inspire youth to become future change makers through STEM. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Innovire OnShape workshop. Today, we'll be learning about the 3D CAD program OnShape. Today, I'll be your host. My name is Brian Lee. I just recently joined the Innovire team. I'm a grade 10 student at Glen Forest, and I'm looking forward to sharing my passion in the STEM field through Innovire. So I hope you enjoy this workshop, and let's begin. So what is CAD? CAD stands for Computer-Aided Design, which basically means the designing of 3D models digitally. CAD is really important in STEM because you can get extreme accuracy of a design's structural capabilities by performing stress tests with simulation programs. As a result, by simulating these CAD designs, you can predict and find many issues of your design and fix them before they are 3D printed and applied in the real world where they will be used. In particular, CAD designs for things like bridges are really important because if they're not designed properly, it can result in the loss of many people's lives. You can see CAD designs often being applied to things like bridges, buildings, and other STEM designs in the real world. All right, so if you attended previously, Innovire had a Tinkercad workshop where we showcased the basics of 3D CAD modeling. Today, I'll be showcasing OnShape, which is another 3D CAD modeling software that can help you create even more detailed and more advanced designs than Tinkercad. This program provides various tools that can help you design better and easier. All right, so before we begin, we need to make sure that everyone has signed up for OnShape. To sign up, go to this link that I'll post in chat, or you can go to the online website and sign up from there. I'll show you on my screen what it should basically look like. OnShape. So if you search up OnShape, go to...
Oh, wait. It tells me requested trial, so is it paid?
No. So I'll get to that very soon. So
All right.
Here, I'll go to the website that I have. But if you click the link that I just sent you guys, you'll see request a trial here. Yes, but don't click any of these. You want to go down here to OnShape Education. All right. OnShape Education basically allows you to request a free account as long as you're a student. So you want to click on Request Your Education Account, and then you'll see this page. You want to go down, and then you'll see this information. You want to enter your information. So my name is Brian Lee. Your email. You should use your school email because you want to prove that you're a student. Are you student or educator? Select student and grade school. And then you will want to create your education account. Right. Hopefully you're following along. Afterwards, once you click this, you'll be put to another page where they'll ask you for a purpose to your account. For that, you just want to write educational purposes. And then once you do that, you can just sign up, and then afterwards you'll have to confirm your account with email. So this might take a bit. We'll just wait around 5 minutes for everyone to sign up. Yes, as Ankur posted in chat, if you're confused at any point of the sign up process or really just any time in the workshop, go.
What does it mean by a school website URL?
School website URL?
Yeah, like when I press create edu account, it
Yes.
says school website URL. What does that mean?
Do you know if it's optional or required? It should be, you'll see a asterisk if it's required.
Yes, it is required then.
School.
What school do you go to?
Tompkin Road Middle School.
Okay, I'll give you the website. One sec.
All right.
Yeah, you probably will just want to go to your school website and then just post the link there.
All right.
I don't remember doing that though. Okay. Well, I guess you'll have to. Yeah. So yeah, if you have any questions at any time, just post in chat or speak up. This is really an open workshop, so feel free to ask anything because OnShape can be difficult to navigate at times. So we'll give 5 minutes until 4:15, or how about 4:13? And then once you finish, just type in chat if you're done. Okay, it took you to a blank screen. Like there's just nothing there. Okay, I don't know if you want to refresh your page. Can you just check the email that you signed up with, and you might see a confirmation email. So just go to your email and see if you received anything. If not, you might just want to refresh your website tab, but don't do it yet because that might mess things up. Let me know what happens. It keeps taking you to a blank screen. Huh. Okay. Did you try refreshing the tab? Are you in full screen? Maybe it's not showing up because it's in full screen. It's not in full screen. Like not full screen the tab, but like this thing. City, country, state, like yes, we should write there. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you should write the city, country, whatever. Not since we're in Canada, not state, but like province. Just fill in whatever is required, and then if it's optional, you don't need to. You're in full screen. Okay, if there's no private information on your screen, on like the blank screen, is it possible if you could like share your screen and then maybe we could see what's going on? Just make sure that there's like no private information on there.
It says choose your unit. So, should I just put everything like a metric?
Wait. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can choose whichever measurement you're comfortable with.
All right.
Metric or centimeters. It's up to you. We can change the measurement later, so don't worry too much about it. But yeah, just choose whatever you feel comfortable for now. Where can I go for the education sign up? All right, so if you go to the link that I posted in chat here, I'll just post it once again. If you click on this link, it should take you to this page. All right. Once you're at this page, you want to scroll down and you'll see OnShape Education. From here, you want to click Request Your Education Account. You go to this page, and then you don't want to click any of these. You just go down here and you enter in your information, and then create your education account. Ferris, are you using like a school email? That might be the issue. For the sign-in, work for the sign-in? Like you mean for like creating the account? What do you mean? Like no, they don't have to be an incognito. I'm only an incognito because if I just go to my OnShape, it'll just sign me in automatically. Or I guess not. But when I click on sign in, it'll just automatically take me to my page. I'm using my school email when I'm creating an account. Okay. I'm not sure what might be the issue then. Using my school email when I'm creating the account. Do you have screen share? Your device is not compatible? I'm from Haltonboard. I don't think the region or like the place where you come from matters. Yeah. Do you have screen sharing capabilities? If you can just share your screen and we might be able to see what's happening. So if you're on the Google Meet and you look to the bottom right, you should see some presentation. It'll say turn on captions and yeah, click on Brian Lee is presenting, and then you should be able to present your screen maybe. If I stop presenting my screen, maybe. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so yeah, so can you, yeah, try going there. Good. Great. Go to OnShape Education. And then it just lags out. That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, it's just a blank screen when I go on the.
That's very strange. Let's see. I have another email. I'll see. Yeah, so if you like, once you click on create education account, it should, oh wait, sorry, I need to present my screen. Yeah, here, I'll take over. So hopefully you're able to see my screen. Let me see. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. So here's like another email I can use. I'm going to create education account and it should take you directly to here. So I'm not too sure what's happening with your website. Yeah. Okay, Ferris, I'm not really sure what's going on, but we're just going to continue the workshop for now. See if you can maybe test if it's a browser issue. Maybe you're having issues with your internet. Maybe it's like too laggy. Do you want to say something? Your mic's unmuted.
Yeah, I just tried doing it on Safari. It's working.
Okay, great. Okay, then I'll just continue with the workshop. Okay, so where were we? All right, so once you've signed up and entered, I'm just gonna exit from here. So you should see this starting page. I won't go into too many details of everything here, but I'll just show you. This UI is sort of similar to Tinkercad. Here you'll have your like documents, your work, all your designs. On the top left, you'll see your create option where you can create documents and folders, which are these designs. And you can also import files. Something really cool that you should definitely take a look at is this public tab right here on the left. Once you click it, it'll take a little while to load, but you can see other people's designs and download them for yourself. So if you're looking for something, you can easily search for them here. OnShape's a very large community, has a very large community. So there should be many designs for you to choose from. All right, so now I'll be going into an OnShape document so that you can see what the basic user interface of an OnShape document should basically look like. So you'll see this once you go into an OnShape document. This is what I've prepared. So I want to bring your attention to the bottom here. Hopefully you can see these different tabs. These tabs are sort of similar to Excel spreadsheet tabs where you go from one element to another. Basically, you can go from one tab to the other, and they help you separate your different designs and your work. Here on the left, you can see a plus sign. This is where you can add these different tabs. You can add tabs such as folders, drawings, assemblies, and part studios. Right now, go over each of these tabs. So first, you have the folder, which is what I have here called Innovire. These folders help you organize your tabs and your work. If you want to enter one, you just gotta left click it, and to exit, you want to click on this home button. Then we have drawings. Drawings, we won't really go into them in this workshop, but they basically help you plan out your design. You can draw lines and insert them into a part studio. But these are usually for more complicated designs, so we won't go too in depth with them. Then we have part studios. So part studios is basically where you actually begin designing and like creating your work. They help you, it basically allows you to create small parts of your design, and then you'll use those parts in your assembly. So assembly is the fourth type of tab, and basically that's where you can combine your different parts from your part studios together to create a combined assembly of your parts. So here I have this object. If I select plank, you'll notice that the plank is only one part of this object, and then the floor is another part of this object. And so in this assembly, we're putting together two parts. Assemblies usually can be either the final product or they just help you organize your parts together. However, I also want to note that there can be more than these four types of tabs. For example, or to illustrate, it is important to note that these OnShape documents aren't really only CAD documents. They're a general container that consists of basically any data, such as PDFs. So you can put in PDFs into your OnShape document. You can put in videos, if it'll load. And you can put in images or any images and other 3D CAD data. Basically anything, you can import anything that can basically help you with your design. All right, so now that we finished looking at tabs, I want to show you guys what a complete OnShape design looks like. So here we have a design that I took from the internet. It's called the Parent F1 Aero. As you can see, it is a very detailed racing car. Using OnShape, you can create designs like these with enough time. I'd like to draw your attention to the left side of the screen where you can see different parts of this assembly. As you can see, this large assembly is made up of other assemblies represented by this cube symbol right here. Usually in a typical OnShape design, you'll often create small parts in part studios, and then you'll combine them into smaller assemblies like the engine bay, the front wing. And then finally, with one assembly, you'll combine all your assemblies together to make the final product. In this workshop, I'll just be going over the basics, but feel free to explore OnShape's other detailed features and how to use them in your own free time. All right, so let's do some CAD right now. Right now we're not really doing anything yet. I'm just going to show you how to interact with the user interface and what tools you'll have. But if you could, try to follow along with your own OnShape tab on one side of the screen and the workshop on the other side of the screen, so that you can test out and play around with the OnShape document as I am showing you guys the tools. So I'm going to go back to the main page, and then I'm going to click on Create, and then Document. I'm going to call this OnShape. Oh wait, no, OnShape Workshop Tools. I don't know. All right, so once you create your document, you'll be brought to this. I'm first going to go over how to move in an OnShape document. So movement in OnShape is pretty similar to Tinkercad. To change perspective of your camera, you want to right-click and hold onto it. And as you can see, you can change and rotate the camera to see different parts of your design. If you want to select something, you'll left-click. But selecting something in OnShape is a little bit different from others. When you select something, you can keep on selecting other things without holding the left click button. So for example, I've selected this right plane, and I'm just going to left click again to select the front plane and the top plane, right? If you want to get rid of your selection, you can just click this white space right here, or just anywhere in the white space. And you can also get rid of a selection if you just left click the selection again. So I've selected this top plane. Well, I just click it again and it's deselected. If you want to move the position of your camera, you want to hold Control and then right click and it'll move the camera. All right. You can also zoom in and out with your scroll wheel. In the top right corner, you'll see this cube. This cube is pretty useful. It helps you see your design from different positions and perspectives. And you can also quickly go from one side of your design to another by clicking on these sides. So let's say I want to go to the right side of my design. Well, I'll just click on the right, and it'll bring me directly to the right side of my design. You can also do a lot of things just by right-clicking certain spots. So like if I right-click this plane, you'll see many options. So I won't go into all of these, but you should explore them in your own time. All right, on the left, you'll see default geometry. So this basically just means that there are different planes for you to interact with, being the right, the top, and the front, as you can see here, front. So if you don't know what I'm saying by planes, I basically mean these three sides, front, right, and top. These planes help you see your design at different perspectives and help you locate your design. If you still don't really understand, it's basically sort of like a graph, but in 3D. Your origin is 0, 0. You have your Y and X axis, and then you have a Z axis going up. And basically your movement is 3-dimensional. Usually we don't really mess around with these planes, but sometimes you will have to use them. And if you would like your design to have perhaps multiple layers, you might want to offset your plane. So to offset a plane, you want to go to one of these planes. Let's say I want to make another front plane. Well, I'm going to right-click the front plane right here. And I'm going to click on Offset Plane. And basically, Offset Plane is basically creating another plane offset from the original. So you can see this new plane that I've created called Front 2 is offset from the original front. All right. So this can be pretty important, but it can be also a little bit complicated. Something pretty important to know is that all your designs, your tools that you've used will be put here on the left. And if you want to hide some of your parts, you can click on this I button, which can be pretty useful because, for example, when let's say you're working on the front side of your design, but you see all these different planes, well, you can get rid of them by just clicking these I symbols. All right. So now I'll go over this top bar, which can be pretty useful. This OnShape button right here takes you directly back to the main page. This menu right here, basically it shows you your document's properties. So here's where you can work with your measurement units, workspace units right here, and you can change a lot of things. I also want to note that you can have versions and histories, which is pretty important because it allows you to see past versions of your design and allows you to restore them if you want to. It's a pretty useful tool if you made a mistake, saved, but then you want to go back. You can easily go back here. If you want to rename your document, you just click here, click on your title. On the right, you'll see a bunch of collaboration tools. You can share your document with other people so that you can work collaboratively. You can make comments to leave for yourself or your collaborators. You can look through the App Store, which is basically a place where you can add apps to your OnShape document, like stress test simulations, which can be really useful for testing how durable your design is. But I wouldn't really recommend it because a lot of these cost a lot of money. And finally, we have the Learning Center, which will give you tools and courses on OnShape tools and teach you how to use them. We'll go more into this later because it's really useful, but for now, we'll just move on. Now we're going to use sketch tools. These are the tools that you'll usually use to begin your design. OnShape is different to Tinkercad in how it creates its designs. In Tinkercad, usually you take basic shapes like cubes, spheres, and then you combine those shapes together to create your design. But in OnShape, OnShape allows you to specifically just draw out your design in a 2D plane and then make it become 3D. So here in the top toolbar, you'll see this button called Sketch. You want to click on this. And once you click on it, I'll ask you to select a sketch plane. All right. Sketch plane are these 3 planes. I'm going to select the front plane. And now I will be able to sketch my design on this front plane. Basically, how designing works in OnShape is that you'll be sketching and designing on a 2D plane, like this front plane. And then from that sketch, you'll make it become 3D. So first, I'll show you what kind of sketch tools you'll have. You'll have your ordinary line. It's just a line. And you basically select a point, you create a point, and then from that point, you can create a line. To exit from a line, you want to click either escape, or you can right click, and then it'll ask you to escape from line, and then you'll get rid of your line. If you want to delete whatever you put down, so let's say I put down a lot of lines, and then I'm like, okay, actually, I don't want these lines anymore. You'll either have to manually delete them, so that's by from Sketch. That's by just deleting them manually. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can just delete it like that. But yeah. Oh, sorry. I deleted my Sketch. Wait, that's not good. Yeah, you'll have to manually delete them like this. Or you can press the Control-Z button and just undo your lines. If you want to specify how long your lines are, you'll see this number here. That's how long your line is. So if you want to specify that, after you make your line, if you just input a number like 5, it'll change your measurement accordingly. as you can see. All right, so now that's the line. Now we have the corner rectangle, which is right beside the line right here. It basically just helps you create a rectangle. It's nothing very special. Then we have the circle. Yeah, so basically you will make a point, and then from that point, it'll make a perfect circle from it. This can be pretty useful when you're like making holes in your design, or you just want a perfect square. Sorry, a perfect circle. Then we have the 3-point arc. So basically the 3-point arc is where you select 2 endpoints and then create a curve from it. So I'm gonna create an endpoint here, and then another endpoint here. And then from these 2 points, it'll create a curve, as you can see. And that R5.203 in the middle, that's basically showing you how big or how large your radius of your curve is. And you can adjust that afterwards by confirming your curve and then just entering in the number. Next, we have spline. So spline is right here. It basically helps you create curved lines. It'll try to create a curve from points that you create. So let's say I create a point here, and then I create another point here, and then here. It'll try and create a line through those points, but that'll curve. If you want to change your spline, so let's say I've made this spline. Oh, let me just do that again. So let's say I've created my spline, and I want to change how it looks. Well, if you hold one of these blue points and then you just move it around, it'll move the spline around to however you like. And you can also move these, which will change how your spline goes into your points. So that's some pretty useful information. If you want to escape from a spline that you don't like, so let's say I'm making a spline and I don't like this, well, if you right click, you can just escape from it and it'll delete the entire thing. All right, so that's a pretty useful tool when you're making curves of your design. Now we're gonna go into the mirror tool. Now, I'm sure you guys know the mirror tool, but I'll go over it. Basically, the mirror tool allows you to mirror a design over an axis. So it'll take a copy of your design and move it over to the other side of your mirror line. So here's the mirror tool. Once you select this, it'll ask you to select a mirror line. So in this case, let's make this line the middle of the front plane as the mirror line. And then I will select these entities to be mirrored over it. And as you can see, this design has been mirrored over this line. All right. This is really useful in CAD because when you're making a symmetrical design, you can just do half of your design and then mirror it over the other line. Then we have the fillet option. So fillet is basically when you make existing sides curved. So here we have 2 existing lines, and I want to make this side or this corner curved. So in order to do that, I'm going to select the fillet function or fillet tool right here. Select it, and then I'm going to select this point, and it'll create a curve from it. This is 0.5 centimeters radius. And to confirm it, I just press enter and enter again, and there you go. So we have spline to make curved lines, but fillet can be used to just help you fix any existing lines. If you want to change how big your curve is, you can double click this. So once you click on it, it'll give you R0.5. If you double click it, you can change it. Or if you just press enter, it'll ask you to change your change how big your curve is. Now I want to go over perpendicular, which can be the perpendicular tool, which can be pretty useful. The perpendicular tool basically just makes 2 lines perpendicular to each other. There you go. It can be pretty useful in your designs. Then I also want to show you guys the offset tool. So as previously shown, offset basically takes a copy of your selected part and offsets it from the original. So here's the offset tool. It looks a little bit weird, but you select your thing. And then if you click offset, it'll allow you to offset this, whatever you selected, to a specified distance. In this case being 2.12. All right, so now I'm going to go over the feature tool. So what we've been going over right now is tools in 2D. And now I'm going to show you what you can do in 3D. So I'm going to create a rectangle, just a closed shape rectangle. I'm going to confirm the sketch by doing this. If I don't confirm the sketch and I click cancel, it'll just erase whatever I had. All right, so I'm going to create a sketch, and then I'm going to add a rectangle again. I'm going to confirm my sketch. All right, so now it's there on my front plane. So here you'll notice that these tools are now different now. They're all in 3D. So now I'm going to go over them. So we have our basic 3D tool, which is extrude. Basically, this just takes whatever 2D sketch you have and turn it into 3D. So if I take this rectangle and I click extrude, it's going to extrude my 2D sketch outwards. And then you can adjust the depth, so how big it is. I'm going to change it to 1. And there we go. So the extrude tool is pretty useful, but it's important to note that when you're using the extrude tool, that whatever you have has to be a closed shape. So let me just delete this. So as you can see, this shape is not closed. It's open, as there's nothing to stop it here. But you'll notice when your design is closed, when the inner part of it becomes gray. So this is important because when you're making your design, you might overlook something in your design that will make one of your shapes not closed. And as a result, you might not be able to extrude it if it your design is not a closed shape. So this is pretty important to know. I'm gonna recreate this. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna confirm this. Okay, so extrude this again. Let's do 1 centimeter. All right, so now here are some other tools. So we have the fillet tool again. So this is the same thing as the fillet tool in the 2D sketch tools. The fillet tool basically, it will ask you to select an edge. And when you do, it'll basically just curve the edge that you selected. Now I want to go over chamfer, which is the tool right beside it. The chamfer tool is pretty similar to the fillet tool, but instead of making a curve, it'll make sort of like a straight curve. So here, I'll try and show you. I'm just going to confirm it. So as you can see, this chamfer is different from a curve. So this is a fillet, and this is a chamfer. Oh, that's so bad. Yeah, that's a chamfer. All right, so the difference is that chamfer is basically a little bit more straight, and fillet's more curved. Now I want to go over how to remove from your design. So you can use 2 different tools. I mean, this one's less used, but we have a shell tool. Basically, what the shell tool does is you'll have to select a face, and whatever face that you've selected, it'll remove it and then create a shell from it. So as you can see, I removed the top face of my design, and it creates a shell from it. However, that's not always the optimal way to remove from your design. You can make specific removal from your design with the extrude remove function. So what I'm going to do to show is I'm going to create another sketch on the same plane. So I'm going to click the sketch button. It'll ask me to do front. And remember that you can have multiple sketches on one plane. So that's important to note. It won't affect whatever you have on here. So I'm going to make a perfect circle this big. And I'm going to confirm my sketch. So now I have a extruded rectangle and a sketched circle. So I'm now going to use extrude. Now extrude usually is associated with like making your 2D sketch come like it's going to make something from your 2D sketch. But you can also use the remove function right here. So I'm going to select my circle, and here it'll ask you, you can add, which basically takes 2 shapes, and wherever it's intersecting, it'll like remove it, it'll just add whatever shape it is to the other design. So in this case, I have a cylinder that's going through this rectangular prism. And since this part in between the cylinder and the rectangle is shared, it'll just stay the same, but it'll add this extra cylinder part together. But instead, we want to use the remove function in order to remove from our design. So I've taken this circle and I've selected the remove function, right? And then you'll notice that there's this arrow here, which it basically adjusts how far you want to remove or how big your cylinder is. So this cylinder is basically a regular cylinder, but everything that it comes in contact with, it'll remove. So yeah, if you confirm it, then it'll create a hole in my rectangular prism. So this is pretty similar to the the hole tool in Tinkercad, which removes from your design. Yeah, so that's really important that you guys should definitely be using extrude remove. Now I want to go over something that you might use. It's called revolve. Basically, revolve revolves your design over an axis. So I'll show what that means. So if you click on revolve, which is this function right here, it'll ask you to select a face and a sketch to revolve. So I'm going to select this rectangle. And then, oh, yeah. So I've selected this sketch. And now I'm going to click on revolve axis to allow me to select an axis for it to revolve around. And I'm going to click this. And as you can see, this rectangle design is revolved around this line to create this cylinder. All right. So this is pretty important that you can use. But often you might use a different function, which is called the circular pattern. So right here, you'll see a cube with 4 different cubes. If you click this down button and you see circular pattern, this basically what you usually will probably use. Oh, wait, I think I need to extrude first. Okay, so I'm going to extrude this to 1 centimeter. And I'm going to select circular pattern. So you'll notice that circular pattern when it's this symbol. You'll select this rectangle, and then you're going to select an axis of pattern. In this case, I'm going to select this, this line. And as you can see, it rotates around this axis, but not constantly, so that it creates a cylinder. So this is a little bit different from revolve, but it can help you create more accurate designs and can be pretty useful. Now, finally, I'm going to go over loft. So loft is a pretty important tool, but it's kind of difficult to use in practice. Basically, it takes 2 shapes, 2 sketches, and then makes smooth curves from one to the other. So to show what I mean, I'm just going to do it. So I'm first going to make, so here's where offsetting planes can be pretty useful. I'm first going to make an offset plane from front. I'm going to call this front 2. And you'll notice now that we'll have a front and a front 2. But if I go to front and you see this rectangle, you have to know that this rectangle is not on front 2. It's on front 1, as you can see here. If you go to front and you see this rectangle, but you don't want it to be there, here's where the hide tool can be pretty useful. If you select sketch 1, it'll just disappear. All right, so that's what we want because we don't want to affect our sketch. So what we're going to do is we're going to sketch on this front 2 plane. Make sure that says front 2 here and that you've not selected front 1. And what I'm going to create is a small circle. That's great. Okay, so if I unhide this, now you should have a circle and a large rectangle. So basically what I can do is use the loft tool, select this rectangle, and then select this circle. And as you can see, it'll create smooth curves from, or like it'll try its best to make smooth lines from one corner of the rectangle to the circle. This can be a pretty useful tool, but it's, as I said, difficult to use in practice. So you'll definitely have to get used to playing around with OnShape. All right, so we're now going to do an interactive active demonstration. So how about we make a heart because it's February. So we're going to make a 3D heart drawing. This should show you guys how to draw 3D models in OnShape. So please try to follow along as best as you can and ask in chat or with voice if you have any questions or if you need me to slow down. So I'm going to get rid of everything. Yeah, so just try and follow along. Maybe have like one side is the workshop and then the other side is your OnShape document, and try to follow along. So when you make your OnShape design or you make your OnShape document, you should have this as your starting point. I'm going to start with making the sketch of my design. So I want to go directly to the front side of my design. I'm going to start on the front side. So I'm going to click sketch. I'm going to click front. I'm going to start doing a sketch of a heart. But in order for my heart to look good, I'm going to take a reference from the internet. So I'm going to take heart drawing. All right, so you can take any of these hearts. I'm going to take this one. This one's simple enough. So I'm going to take this image. I'm going to save image as on my downloads. And now when I go back to here, so I'm going to import my image into the OnShape document to help me draw it in my sketch. So I'm going to go over to this. You'll see DXF, insert DXF or DWG. And then insert image. Once you click insert image, you'll see this. And then you want to click on import. And then you can import your heart. Also remember that if possible, your image should be a JPEG. You don't want it to be some random other type of file. So once you've imported it into your OnShape document, you want to import it into this tab. So we're going to click on heart.jpg. And then you'll see draw image rectangle. So we're going to draw a rectangle. We're going to hold left click and then draw a rectangle. And as you can see,
where was the import image thing?
Import image is right here. So it's right beside the mirror option. Can you see on my screen? It should be right here. It might not, if it says DXF, you want to make it into insert image.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, is everything good?
Yes, but it says DSF. How do I? Oh,
if you
okay,
click on,
I got it.
yeah.
I got it.
Okay, so yeah, so we want to create we're drawing this image as a rectangle. So right now it's existing in the sketch plane as a rectangle. So we're going to move this rectangle to the center so that it lines up with this middle line. And basically, we're going to use this as our reference when we're sketching. So we're going to use the spline tool because we're making curved lines. We're going to start, because remember we have the mirror tool. We only want to do 1/2 of the heart. So we're going to start at the center of the heart and then try your best to follow along with the heart. If you want to be extremely accurate, you want to have less distance between your points. All right. Mine's not going to be exactly perfect, but yeah, you get the idea. So usually you can, so to confirm my sketch, my spline, you can right click and click confirm sketch. Oh wait, sorry, not confirm sketch. Yeah, confirm sketch doesn't do anything. Sorry, I need to do that again. If you want to confirm your spline, I think if you just press escape, it should confirm it. let me just create it again. All right, it's not the best, but it's whatever. So now we have our spline sketch. Usually in designs, you can use a reference, but sometimes you won't be able to because like there's not an online example. So in that case, you'll just have to draw it yourself. But since a heart is like very common, we can just use a online reference. Okay, so now we're going to use the mirror tool with the middle line of the front plane as a reference line. But I also want to show you how you can use the mirror tool without using the middle line as a reference. Because in some cases, you might want to have a heart in the top right corner, but you won't have a middle line as a reference. So we're going to transform, or we're going to move our, so you don't have to do this because I'm just going to go back, but I want to show you how to use the mirror line. So we don't need the sketch anymore since we finished doing our spline. So to get rid of it, I'm just going to select one of the sides and then click delete, and then it'll go away. So wait, how do you put the heart into the sketch? So so you'll see this insert image tool here. If it's not insert image, it'll be this. You want to click this down button and you'll see insert image. Once you click insert image, you'll see this this thing. And then you can click import down here. And from this, you can import your design into your OnShape document. All right. Remember that you have to save this image as something on your computer and then directly put it in. All right. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. Type in chat if it doesn't. I'm going to show you how the mirror line works. You don't have to follow this. I'm just showing you how to use the mirror line without the middle thing. So I'm going to, but how do I see the heart on the sketch? All right, so here, let me insert image. So once you get to this step, you're going to left click on heart, and then you'll see draw image rectangle. All right, so you have to make your image as a rectangle. So you're going to left click and hold it, and then you'll start to see that your heart image is coming up as a rectangle. So this is the rectangle, and it's you're basically drawing it. Yeah, okay. Where was I? There you go. Okay, so nice. That's great. I'm going to show the mirror tool. So I'm going to transform. So transform basically means to move your move whatever design you've selected. So once I click transform, you can move it to the right, and I'm moving it to the right 2.2717 centimeters. So what I'm first going to do, if I want to mirror this, I'm going to draw a line from the top to the bottom of the heart, and as you can see, it'll become closed. But we don't want that because when we mirror it, then we'll have a line in between the two hearts, which is not what we want. So we're going to make this line into a construction line. So construction lines are basically lines that are not part of the design, but can act as references. So for example, when you're extruding an object with a construction line, when it extrudes the design, it won't consider the construction lines as part of the design. So in this case, when you look at this heart, when it's not a construction line, you'll notice that the inside turns gray. That's because this is a closed shape, all right? But when you turn it into a construction line, then you'll notice that the inside's not gray anymore. So that means this is open, which means that this construction line isn't counted. All right, then from this construction line, you can use this construction line as the mirror line. So I'm going to click on mirror, click this line, and then select that. And there we go. We have a symmetrical heart. But in this workshop, we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave it in the middle. So we're going to, you should have this. We're going to click on mirror, select this as the mirror line, and then select this heart, this design, and it'll mirror it over. Now we have a heart. So now we want to turn this heart sketch into 3D. So we're going to confirm our sketch, and then we're going to select this, or you don't have to select it immediately. You can just click extrude. It'll ask you to
mirror it?
Hello?
How did you mirror it?
How did I mirror it? Okay,
Yeah.
let me go back. Okay, undo. Right, so you see this mirror tool right here?
Yeah.
If you left click it, it'll ask you to select a mirror line. So this is the line that the design will go over. So in this case, we're going to select this front line. If you're not on the 2D front line, you want to click this. You want to click the front of the cube, and it'll automatically direct you to the front of the design. You select this as the mirror line, and then it'll ask you to select entities you want to have mirrored over the line. So you're going to select your heart, half of it, and it's going to mirror over.
All right, I got it. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so now we have a 2D sketch of a heart. Now we want to turn it into 3D. So we're going to use the extrude tool. So remember that you have to confirm the sketch. We're going to use the extrude tool, select this face that we want to extrude, and there you go. So now we have it in 3D. But, oops. Now we have it in 3D. But we don't want it to just be like a flat heart. Like that's kind of boring. We want it to be sort of like this, right? So what we're going to do is we're gonna, we don't want it too big, so let's do it 1 centimeter. Make sure you have this because later in the workshop, it might be a little bit different. It'll be a little more difficult to do it. So make sure that your depth here is 1 centimeters, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to make the front side of the heart curved. So we're going to select the front face, and then we're going to use fillet. Fillet allows you to make existing edges or faces into curved. So now it's changed all of the selected edge into a curve, as you can see. Now we want to make this curve a little bit more noticeable, and we don't want this like flat part on the side. So we're going to change this to a large radius. Oh, but as you can see, so I've changed my radius of my curve to 1, and now it's in red. So this means that basically the curve is larger than the initial design. So that's not what we want. So this has to be a measurement lower than 1. Let's change it to 0.9. All right, that looks pretty good because now we have a lot of the heart as it's curved, and now we only have like a little bit of this extra part. So we're going to confirm this fillet. And then now we want to get rid of this back part of the heart. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait. How do I do that? Okay, so we're going to go back. Okay, so hopefully you have this right. You extruded the heart. Make sure that's 1 centimeters. So what you're going to do is you're going to select this face by left clicking. Then you want to go to the fillet tool right here. Once you fillet it, you'll notice that these edges that you've selected have turned into curves, all right? But we don't want it to be such a low curve. We want these fat sides to be taken away. So we're gonna change the radius to 1. Well, okay, if you change it to 1, it'll be over the maximum limit. So we're gonna change it to 0.9. And as you can see, then it'll turn into a larger curve, okay? Hopefully you got that. If you didn't, just write in the chat again. So now we want to get rid of this back half, right? So we're going to use extrude remove. So remember that when you extrude, you can also have the remove function. So we're going to use that. We're going to select this back face. Select it. Then we're going to extrude it. So you might think that we're adding to it, but if we click remove, then whatever this face or this extrude has, how big this extrude is, it'll remove from the original design. So what we want is to get rid of this line, right? So you can adjust the length of your remove with this arrow or with this depth measurement right here. What we want is to get as close to the line as possible, but we would rather have it over the line than before the line, because if we have it before the line just like a little bit, you'll see that like there's double lines, which is not what we want. So it's fine if you go a little bit over as long as it's like completely gone. And once you've removed the line, then you just click confirm and it'll disappear. All right. So now we should have a heart like this. There you go. So now we want to use the mirror tool to mirror it over, right? Because right now we only have half of the heart. But if we mirror it over this right plane right now, it'll have a little space in between. As you can see, because we removed that little line section, you'll see that there's a little space in between the heart and the front plane. So instead of using the front plane as your mirror axis, we're going to use this the back of the heart as the mirror face. So in feature tools, you'll have a mirror tool right here. If you select it, it'll ask you to select entities to mirror. So we want to select the heart, right? Because that's what we want to mirror. You'll notice it has part 1. And then to change to mirror plane, because if you click it again, it'll just deselect. What you want is you want to click the mirror plane, and it'll select the mirror plane, and it'll ask you to select the mirror plane. So the mirror plane, instead of selecting the front plane as a mirror plane, we're going to select the back of the heart. And as you can see, we now have a complete heart. Right? Okay, so now how about I want to go over a few other tools. So how about we draw something like an arrow going through a heart? This arrow demonstration should show more complicated tools that you can use than just the simple ones we've just shown right here. So let's make a new part studio. So we're going to go to down here, insert a new element, and we're going to create a part studio. All right. Here we can rename this. So if you right click part studio, you can rename it to like heart. I'm going to call this part studio arrow. So we're going to make an arrow going through a heart. So we're going to create an arrow. I'm going to go to the front of my design again. Going to create a sketch. So for an arrow, instead of making a complete arrow and then in this case probably rotating the arrow 360, we're going to do something different. We're going to use the circular pattern function that I told you guys before. So what I want you guys to do is go to the front plane, try and make an arrow, but only half of it on a 2D plane. So I'm going to start here. I want this arrow to be as big as possible so that it can go through the heart easily. So here's I'm going to create. And you want to make the stick part of the arrow very small, because when you rotate it around 360, it'll become very big. So try and create half of an arrow on the plane. There we go. All right, so here's my arrow. I didn't draw this line because there's not really much necessary of it. So now we have this 2D arrow. But I want to separate the arrowhead and the back of the arrow. So actually, I'm going to complete this. So I'm going to make this arrow a closed shape, and then I'm going to close this arrow. So now that this arrowhead is different from the rest of the arrow, so that I can choose different options for each part of the arrow. I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom. Front plane. I'm going to separate these. So this is a little bit more complicated, but it can be very useful. And there you go. So now we have the front head of the arrow and the back head of the arrow, separated from the stick. So by doing this, we can use different tools on each part of the arrow. So for this, the arrowhead, what I want to do first, just follow along. I want to extrude it. So instead of just immediately rotating it, because if you immediately rotate it, it'll become very tacky. So I'm going to click the revolve axis. And as you can see, it becomes sort of like a cone, which is not exactly what we want. That's kind of like a kid arrow. We're going to make it more realistic. So we're going to extrude one of its faces. We don't want it to be too big. So I'm going to change it to 0.1 centimeters. All right. We're going to call this arrowhead. So from this arrowhead, we're going to use a few tools to make it look a little bit better. So we're going to use the chamfer tool, as I said before. It basically is the same thing as a fillet, but more straight. What we're doing by using the chamfer is making the arrow, the head of the arrow, have an intersection. So arrow drawing. Yeah, so I'll have sort of like an intersection. So I'll have a line here, and then I'll have another line inside. So I'll show you what I mean by one-side chamfer. So you want to click on one of the edges of the arrow. So you see this arrow? You don't want to select this face. You want to select just this edge. All right. And then once you've selected this edge, you also want to do it on both sides of the arrow. So I'm going to select this edge of the arrow. Make sure you're only selecting the edges, and then you're going to click chamfer. Chamfer, we don't, the reason why it's red is because it's too big of a chamfer. So we're going to make it 0.1. So as it's not too big of a chamfer, and I'm going to confirm. So as you can see now, from the initial design, now it has these straight curves. These straight fillets that basically sort of define the outline of the arrow, which makes it look a little bit cooler. Now we're going to use the circular pattern. So here's the circular pattern. You might have it as linear pattern, but in order to change it, you just click the down button. Yeah. Is anyone saying anything? Okay, no. So I'm going to click circular pattern. Then I'm going to rotate it across this pattern. And as you can see, you should have something like this, right? So this is basically what we want. You can change how many instances you have, but I'm going to make it only 4. And yeah, this looks pretty good. Yeah, that's probably good enough for our arrowhead. It's not exactly the best at the top, but it should be fine. So now we're going to move on to the stick part of the arrow. So we're going to go back to our sketch. So, and then we're going to mess around with this arrow part, right? So we go in. So if you're like zoomed out, it'll be difficult to select the stick of the arrow. So instead, I'm going to zoom in and select like the inside of it, and it'll just select the arrow, right? So with the arrows, the stick of the arrow, we can just use revolve because the stick part of the arrow isn't going to be a circular pattern. It'll just be a cylinder, right? And now we have a pretty nice stick for our arrow. Then we're going to go to the back. We're going to do what we did to the arrow on the top. We're going to do to the bottom of the arrow right here. All right. So we're going to extrude it a little bit, 0.1. We're going to use the chamfer tool to make these outlines a little bit more defined. Chamfer tool. And we're going to make it 0.1. Oh, I didn't select this. Wait. Select this, chamfer tool. Distance and angle. Wait, what's the issue? Oh, it's because I selected the thing twice? Huh. What's the issue here? It seems like only one part of it's working. Okay, well, I guess we can only do one part of it. So I'm just going to chamfer one side of the arrow, and then I'm just going to rotate it around with the circular pattern. Whoops, wait, I don't want to select the entire thing. Chamfer tool, no, sorry, circular pattern. Why does it select the entire thing? Wait, I need to probably remove this. All right, so I've basically just rotated this bottom part 360 4 times. All right, hopefully you guys are still following along. I'm gonna go back to the front, and I'm gonna move down. And I want to rotate this stick part of the, or sorry, revolve the stick part of the arrow. So don't forget about that. Once you revolve it, select an axis. And there we go. We have our arrow. All right, so this should be your arrow. Hopefully this is what you guys gone to. Now I'm going to show you how to use assembly. So we're going to add an assembly right here. And now we're going to insert both of our designs into assembly. So we're going to select arrow. Oh, okay, wait, sorry. Okay, so as you can see, when you click on arrow, you'll notice that you'll get a bunch of different parts. Now this is because your arrow is not connected to each other yet, or it's not grouped as one. So right now, all you have is a bunch of different parts. This is because like when you input your arrow into the assembly, it'll recognize each of these parts as different parts, not as like one solid thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Boolean function right here, which basically is the same thing as grouping in your in Tinkercad. So we're going to select each different part, or you can also just highlight the entire thing. So Boolean, just select the entire thing. Oh, whoops. Okay, wait, I need to zoom out. Select the entire thing. We're going to create Boolean. And now it should be all connected into one part. So basically Boolean takes everything that you selected, and then union basically means to group all of them together. So as you can see, I have all these different parts in this Boolean, and now it's all into one part. All right. So now when I go to insert my arrow, it'll just come out as one part, which is what we want. And then we also want to insert our heart. And now you have two parts. One is a heart and one is the arrow. Now in assembly, there are like various different tools, but I'm not going to go into it because I'm already over time. But basically from here, if you click on the arrow, you'll see all these transformation options. What we want is for it to go at 45 degrees angle. We're going to make it go through the heart by moving it around. And you can adjust it to your liking. There's not exact measurements. And once you finish, you just click in the white space, and then you should have your arrow going through a heart. And that's basically it for this workshop. We're not going to go into everything because OnShape has so many tools, it would be impossible for me to go over everything. But yeah, so basically when you're in assembly, these tools aren't too necessary unless if you're making more complicated designs. But you can also just move it around by using transforming. All right, so before ending, I want to talk about how you can figure out some of these tools without my help or just researching. If you hover over one of these tools, so let's say I want to learn about the fillet and I don't know what it does, you'll see a bunch of like instructions on how to use it, or like, yeah, basically how to use it if you hover over it long enough. If you want to learn more, if you click on fillet, you'll get this option. You don't need to click anything. You just need to click this question button, and it'll direct you. It should direct you to a page that's just that'll give you an example and steps on how to actually use it. And this is really helpful for just learning OnShape by yourself. All right, so that's basically all I have for the workshop today. I hope you enjoyed. For the structural boat design competition, remember that you can use either Tinkercad or OnShape, or just any other CAD software, whichever you feel will be better for you in order to create the best design that you can create. Today's workshop is just to showcase you the various tools that OnShape provides. You guys should know that there are still various tools that OnShape has that I haven't covered, so make sure that you explore those in your own time. If you would like to learn about all the tools, everything that OnShape provides, you can go to the Learning Center, as I mentioned before, and take its courses there. I really recommend using the Learning Center courses because they're all really detailed. As you can see here, you can go to instructor-led training, self-paced courses. Most of these are pretty free and it's provided by the OnShape community, which is pretty large. Also, you can go to our Innovire YouTube channel where this recorded workshop will be posted today or posted whenever, and you can review the content that we discussed today. Here are some links that I've gathered that are available, basically courses that are available at the Learning Center that I would recommend if you want to review some OnShape tools or basically explore more of OnShape's tools and how you can use them. Also, a note before we end the workshop, for the structural boat design competition, once you have finished designing your boats, we'll be testing your designs on SimScale. SimScale, which is an online program which tests structural capabilities of your design. The structural capabilities to be tested are still being determined. We'll be designing a boat ship on this application. I'm not going to go over how to design a boat in OnShape because I'm going to leave that up to you guys to think of how you can create a boat that has good buoyancy and good structural capabilities on OnShape. I'm going to leave that to you for you to be creative and innovative. That's up to you guys. So I've just come here to show all the tools that you can use.
To add on to what Brian mentioned, you guys can use any CAD software to design your boats, and you can use the video that we posted on our YouTube channel last weekend to learn about the different factors you should consider when designing your boats. It's a pretty well detailed video and explains everything you need to know. If you have any other questions about the competition, ask now, or you can email us or message us on Discord later on. Another thing, we'll be emailing you with the prompt for your story that you have to, which has all the details of the competition, and we'll give you a basis on how you should consider designing your boat to later today.
Yeah, everything that Abdullah said. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming to the OnShape workshop. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm looking forward to being part of more of Innovire events and seeing you guys again. So yeah, thanks.
If you don't have any questions, you guys are free to go now. We hope to see you at our future events. We'll email you updates on the competition tonight.
All right, thank you. Bye.